And welcome to the Lindy Sports post-game Coach's Corner. I am the Coach Dick Cox, reporting on tonight's South Carolina versus Florida game in Williams-Brice Stadium. 2 weeks ago, the South Carolina football team was officially declared dead. That the Gamecocks probably played their most embarrassing game in over 50 years against Texas A&M, and were limited to only 15 total yards at the end of three quarters. Probably you could say they hit rock bottom. Things really couldn't get any worse. And they went into a bye week. They had a week off, though. But everybody pretty much had written the season off for the Gamecocks. During that bye week, Coach Shane Beamer did not write the Gamecocks off. That he basically stressed, and his battle cry to his players were, you got to win your one-on-one battles. So that's something he felt like the Gamecocks had not been doing all year long. The offensive line had underperformed and just were not really blocking anybody. The running game was not going. But he challenged his players that you've got to compete every day. Competition, you got to compete, and you've got to win your one-on-one battles. To make things even worse, South Carolina had already lost who was penciled in to be their starting quarterback this year, Luke Doty, out for the season with foot surgery. And the savior who would come in for them was Zeb Nolan, who went from blowing a whistle and carrying a clipboard to now taking snaps. He'd stepped in and led the Gamecocks to 3 wins this year, but during the bye week, he had to have some surgery on his knee. He was not going to be ready to go. So lo and behold, the third quarterback the Gamecocks would have to start this year was Jason Brown. Jason Brown, a fifth-year senior who transferred in, played at a little small school, St. Francis University up in Pennsylvania. Had not played in front of big crowds like you would see in the SEC. He was used to playing in front of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 fans and all. But he drew the start against the University of Florida. Florida last year was the Eastern Division champions in the SEC. Were 2 points away from beating Alabama in the SEC championship game in a program that is very rich in tradition. Gamecocks came in to the game Saturday night as 20-point underdogs. But evidently somebody forgot to tell the Gamecocks. Behind the spark that Jason Brown gave them, South Carolina came out and was an entirely different football team. They won the one-on-one battles. They rushed for first time this year. They rushed for like 282 yards and actually had 2 players. Kevin Harris returned to his old form from last year, rushed for 128, and White also rushed for over 100 yards, I think, with 111. And again, the Gamecock rushing game went well. Brown was able to show escapability tendencies in the pocket to get away to throw two touchdown passes. And the Gamecocks actually scored, I think, on their first 5 possessions and took a 30 to 10 lead in at the half. South Carolina came out in the second half and did not take their foot off the accelerator and were able to build a 40 to 10 lead before Florida was able to score a late touchdown to cut it to 40 to 17. South Carolina, in spite of all of the bad things that have happened to this year, with all the adversity they face, the embarrassments they've been through, because South Carolina only had 79 scholarship players playing in the game Saturday night and started their third-string quarterback. But the Gamecocks are now 1 win away from being bowl eligible. They now run the record to 5-4 on the year, and they've got 3 games left. And most people had written South Carolina off, said 4 wins at best. But if they could pull off a win, 1 win in these last 3 games, they go to Missouri, they have Auburn coming in, and they have Clemson coming in. They got a decent chance of getting 1 more win and getting to that bowl game that Practically everybody, every SEC fan said it would never happen, though. So it was a huge win for Gamecock coach Shane Beamer. Matter of fact, he had one of his mentors, Steve Spurrier, was in the stands that night, and said he had talked with Steve earlier in the week, and that Steve had told him, 4 wins, that was good. They won the close games and were very encouraging. And also, Coach Beamer had his parents there, though. But it was a huge game for Gamecock fans, again, that South Carolina was able to knock off a Florida team and score the most points South Carolina has ever scored in a game. In all the series games against Florida, they scored 40 points, and the 23-point margin was the largest victory over Florida ever done before. South Carolina now will try to get ready to go on the road for their final road game of the year as they go to the other Columbia in the Battle of the Columbias to take a Missouri team that's had their ups and downs before returning back home to Willie B to play their last 2 games. What a huge game South Carolina played. Probably the biggest surprise or biggest upset of the year in the SEC. The South Carolina Gamecocks take down the Gators. They actually, you could say, they swamped the Gators by the score of 40-17. We'll take a look and see with the Gamecocks if they can become bowl eligible, though. But right now they said they're going to enjoy this one. Shane Beamer has told the players all year long, said don't listen to people talk about the things you can't do. He told them, write your own story. And that's exactly what the Gamecocks did Saturday night. Reporting for Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting, I am the coach, Dick Cox.